Hello, hello. It is time for another new chapter of One Piece. I've got my coffee. It's Sunday morning. I'm going to choir practice soon. Things are pretty good. It's chapter 1143. The title is going to be on the next page. Instead of a cover story arc progression, we are getting another fun little cover spread. They're riding on the flying fish from the little mini arc right before Sabaody with the flying fish riders, the smuggler gang, but here they're just having some fun with them, no smuggling involved at all. I like that Jinbei is just swimming. He does not want to partake on a flying fish. It's not actually going all so well for him. I don't know. We've got a few other team ups here. Usopp and Frankie teaming up, probably on some sort of technologically enhanced fish. Not doing great either, though. Brooke and Robin seem to not really be trying that hard at all. They're just sort of chilling. It's only kind of three of our main dudes here, Luffy, Nami, and Zoro, that are actually gunning for first place. You know, I love these cover art, these color pages on the covers. It's not like you can really say all that much about them, but every time, like, all of the Straw Hats really are behaving like in character in a lot of kind of subtle ways. Like, not just their individual actions reflect their characters, of course, but the entire scene somehow did occur, motivated by everybody kind of acting like themselves. All right, that's enough about that. Let's dive into the chapter proper. This one is called Holy Nights, which is very exciting. I'm gonna eat the rest of my little. I got a coffee chocolate cookie too to go with my chocolate. To go with my coffee. Mmm. Mmm. Uh oh. Okay, so very intriguing chapter title. We can see in the background the children's nightmares are still rampaging. Terrifying. Don't touch the kids. So there's like multiple powers at play here. Something to kind of mass hypnotize and cause the kids to fall asleep and sleepwalk towards this programmed destination. Something that manifests their nightmares into reality. And it seems like some sort of rigged up booby trap that as soon as Saul touches the kids here, yeah, this invisible little cage of spikes surrounds them. Very spooky looking. Again, just like the visual language is very different than pretty much anything else we've seen in One Piece. Oda is very, like, reserved. Things like invisible auras and stuff are always confined to the world of Haki. There's only one clear fruit. That was made painfully obvious to Sanji. The stuff just kind of attacking you invisibly is actually very, very rare. So again, it's sort of setting out just this true unholiness of the Holy Knights, this aberration in the world of One Piece that they represent, which feels very befitting of this kind of endgame enemy. Yeah, nobody else can see this. I think it's just for the benefit of the reader. They don't understand Mr. Walrus, of course. So yeah, it looks like the Holy Knights are using their powers in combination. Even though it's meant to be a competition between them, I guess they all can contribute. So the arrow is Gugnir, or I think that's her name, something like that. And then the spikes might then be the dude that was posted up without his pants. I don't remember their names. I only remember Killingham, my goat, who does seem to have some sort of Kieran-like mystique to him, which I think he must be the one causing the sleep and the manifestation of dreams. All the children have suddenly fallen asleep. Okay, I like that they're in contact with the main giant force right away. There's no belabored, unnecessary tension of we can't get a hold of everybody. We're going to have to deal with this just with who we have on hand. But instead, everyone is mobilized immediately to this crisis, which does seem like it's going to be a pretty significant crisis. I was still convinced that this arc would have like a little median phase before things really got intense. But I think this is like a pretty strong opening salvo. This is going to take quite some time to resolve. But I do think in traditional One Piece fashion, after this, there is going to be kind of a reset, a reestablishment of people's objectives, and then a more final showdown. That's often the structure of One Piece arcs. It's kind of a two-phase thing like that. Search of strange monsters from the forests. Children are traveling down Branch Route 8 at the moment. The transponder pill bug that only works in Elbaf. Huh. Yeah, this is pretty scary. No time for these shenanigans, Brooke. Oh, man. Everybody's drunk. My granddaughter's granddaughter. The walking hill is ancient indeed. Nami trying to rally the troops. The firefighters. Okay, this makes sense that they'd have a particular firefighting squad that remains vigilant and at duty and presumably not drunk. Although I could turn the page and they could turn out to be drunk, as is the type of joke that Oda loves to make. But swatted out of the sky by a giant nightmare skeleton. Terrifying. These things are actually so nutty. Just the child drawing quality of them. They feel so abhorrent, so at odds with the consistency and reality of the rest of the world. Scary, scary. Giants got stabbed by the thorns. Famous saying, every love has its thorns. So maybe this is one of his gimmicks. He messes up popular sayings. Love is the passion to reach out and squeeze something, even as you see the thorns up close. I like that they're just kind of chilling and having a meal. Best part of the game is when it's parents and children. Parents hug their kids tight, thorns and all, and the kids scream and wail when they see their worst nightmare, mommy and daddy dying in agony. Jeez. This guy's fucked up, dude. The thorn fruit. A thorn man. So it's kind of interesting because like this is a pretty like classic sort of One Piece devil fruit, you know? They've generally been getting like more complex and more powerful. If it's something simple that's being revealed this late, it's something insane, like the warp fruit. You know, like the strength fruit. And if it's something complex, it's something that seems to just have a million answers for everything. Whereas thorns, you're kind of like, yeah, that's probably it's similar to the lady in Baroque Works. What's her face that Nami fought? She could just make spikes. She had the spike fruit, I guess. She made spikes come out of everywhere. But this guy's powers seem very unlimited. And it's unclear if that's just like a quality of the fruit. I think kind of not. I think that's more just a quality of his power, that he's able to use his fruit to create invisible floating thorns that track and follow a child or whatever. Like there's it's the application that's totally insane. Just thorns doesn't seem to be that insane to me. Gunko is totally indifferent. Killingham looking somewhat normal here. I think he just looks like that. I don't think it's a devil fruit, dude. I'm convinced more and more that it's not a devil fruit. Okay, because he wears the oxygen bubble helmet all the time, which isn't too atypical of the Saints. Other ones do that as well. But none of the Holy Knights are ever shown doing that. Because I think the idea is that it's like ludicrous that the Saints don't want to breathe the same air as commoners. That's like a total lack of reality, that they think the commoners' air is somehow dangerous or whatever. And I think the Holy Knights, even though that they're brought up in this culture and they've enjoyed these luxuries, seem to be a lot more like pragmatic and like mission focused and not just like little spoiled, incompetent brats like a lot of the other celestial dragons. I don't. Yeah, they would never consider wearing these goofy helmets when they're out on business. But Killingham does, and either it's gonna be a joke that at some point they're gonna ask why he still has his helmet on, and he's gonna go like, "Oh, I forgot," just to show that he's very bumbling and aloof. Or he actually does need it for some reason because he's some bizarre species. How is he eating with it on? I have no clue. Oh yeah, because they're just bubbles. Yeah, they're not an actual helmet. They're a bubble that you can pass through. So I answered my own question there. That was efficient. Yeah, I don't know. And just the way he's depicted, just this sort of nonchalance that they show him with, I don't think it's a dude with a devil fruit. I think he just looks like that. I think it's just like a crazy species that we haven't encountered yet that are like, rare and almost extinct and loyal to the world government. I don't know, man. I think it's just a guy. Okay, so Gunko, yeah, is directing the children with the arrows. Her devil fruit is one of the more complicated, seemingly does everything type fruits. Their utter futility all the more apparent. Salt. Ah, never mind. Okay, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. Never mind. Well, you can't win them all, right? You can't win them all. I knew from the start that it was more likely, but I started to feel like I maybe had some insight, that I had some raw read. And just the prospect of it excited me that there might be a bunch of dudes that look like that. I just love his design so much. Okay, yeah, so he can manifest things out of people's dreams. He can also put people to sleep. He knocks out Sommers right away and then reaches into his dream. I love the the visualization of this. It's so physical. This is probably how they got their whole meal, is just by having Sommers fall asleep dreaming of different food. But I just love, who else but Oda would come up with such a bizarre, psychedelic, abstract, all-encompassing power, and then have such a physical manifestation of him pulling it out of the dream bubble, rummaging around in there. What about the sleep tids he pulled out of those brats' dreams? So those are the names of the working nightmares or whatever. They draw rainbows in the sky with those painter rocks. Oh, I like that Gunko is really passionate about the food. It's the first time she's shown any passion. I'm surprised with how fun and personable and likable they've made these Holy Knights. Oda will always give the villains some quirks and some foibles and have a little bit of interplay among the villains. I think that's part of what made Ina's Lobby so good. But these dudes, I don't know. CP9, they were pretty evil. Lucci was very evil. They were quite cruel, and they were doing horrible, horrible things on behalf of the world government. But at the same time, they were just kind of like doing their job, Whereas these dudes, they're like evil to the core. They're evil from generations past. They're like not only the enforcers of the will of the world government, they are a substantial part of what manifests that will in the first place. If they all quit, it might be GG for Marie-Joie. And so the fact that Oda is still making them kind of like goofy and fun and likable, when, we're probably T-minus 3 or 4 chapters at most from An absolutely deadly showdown between our main characters and them. He's got a lot of chutzpah, I'll say that. We basically won already. It's too easy. This is a baby game for babies. That's a great reaction image. Ooh, it's dream food, so 0 energy too. So does that mean that the sleep tids are thus like not powerful? Really? They just look scary? But the one dude like knocked the ship out of the sky and they had to really fight him. I don't know. How does it work exactly? Because if it can do all that, then why can't the food have actual calories in it, right? Like, I don't know. This is a very stupid thing to try to work through. It just works the way it works. That's that's the logic to it. I guess they point this out because Marie-Joie right now is going through a famine, right? An induced famine by the revolutionaries to cut off their food supply. So I think that's to preempt the SBS question of why didn't Killingham just make infinite food for all of the people in Marie-Joie? Problem solved. And Oda would reply, well, there's 0 calories in the dream food. And he thought, ugh, I don't even want to let him get that far, because maybe people won't read the SBS and they'll go, Oda, you hack. So he put it right into the manga. We're reading the SBS in the manga now. Okay. Kids are walking right towards the fire. Die, we can send more. Oh, and then, yeah, this is the first time that they find out that Luffy is here. Which is really crazy. It's really cool to me that for so long, Luffy and the Straw Hats would show up on an island, and they would be like this mysterious X Factor. And everybody would underrate them, and the situation would be so convoluted. And, you know, it was always this, like, really dramatic, cathartic moment where they're like, wait a minute, we have to put our hopes and dreams onto these random pirates that just showed up. This seems to be the only way out. All our best laid plans, all the way up until, like, Dressrosa, that was happening, you know? They had their whole rebellion plan and stuff. The Straw Hats showed up and instigated this major situation. But they didn't really put their hopes into Luffy. They thought, you know, that's just some pirates. What can they possibly do? And then just that huge dramatic build-up to Luffy fighting Doflamingo and them going, oh my god, like, this is how we win. Here, on the other hand, right from the get-go, the villains are like, this is the biggest issue here. There will be trouble because the Straw Hat Pirates are here. It's just the slow, gradual change in their reputation throughout the entire series. It's reflected in the writing of each arc and how other characters see them. Fantastic. Okay. Alright. Meanwhile, the third crisis. I guess there's only 2 crises, because this is also the fire. This is why there's a giant fire. You can't possibly stop me. You can't even lift Ragnar. It's hurting the Sun World. They will. The flames will only spread further. Make your choice. You will undo the last cuff and free me. Or will you all choose death? I'll only keep taking the lives of those weaklings in the subworld if you don't answer me. Again, it's like, he's pretty fucked up. He's kind of Joker pilled. But I don't think he's like a bad guy, because he really is promising, if you free me, I will stop killing innocent people wantonly, right? If he can move, I'll stop him. That was the deal. Oh man, here we go. Electrocute you if you get too close. No. Not our little rubber brat. If you hit the children, there's no turning back. You go easy on him, Luffy, or his wounds will get worse. Yeah. It was a bluff. I'm not surprised. He was just trying to be a shrewd negotiator, make a big show of power, but he got, like, beaten half to death by 2 holy knights that were essentially just trying to bring him to as close to death as possible. I think they want to keep him alive because of all this royal lineage and legitimacy of the throne nonsense. But yeah, they brought him to as close to death as they could. So yeah, I'm not too surprised here. Loki, in fact, at death's door, collapses once again. He was really at death's door already. Zoro were on the same level. Summoning all the strength he had left on a gamble. If his bluff would work, he would have escaped so he could collapse somewhere in secret. Do whether you heal him or let him die. I had busy hand away when I saw how bloody he is. Whoever tried to kill Loki, it is a separate incident from the matter of his own crimes. I think I might know who that was. Well, that's interesting, because he doesn't. Well, maybe he's just thinking it's whoever killed or beat up the royal guards in the castle. Yeah, he's probably just thinking, okay, those two incidents are probably connected. But he doesn't know about the Holy Knights. He doesn't know who's here. I thought at first maybe he was thinking of some totally unrelated party, but I think Roto does understand that those incidents are related. Help him out a little. I don't want him to let him die, no matter who he is. I like this. I like this. Because at first it kind of seems like Luffy has some sort of low-key connection with Loki, that he recognizes something in him. Again, I think there is like an inherent goodness in Loki. I still am ride or die on this feeling that his father, the king, was actually way more evil, and that Loki is, again, just kind of a little crazy with it. But now it seems like it's more just a manifestation of Luffy's universal generosity, his universal feeling of, if I just see some dude at death's door, I want to save him. I just don't like seeing people die. Which I think speaks to his character even more than some sort of subtle, we are both manifestations of Nika or something. Until he's fully healed, it'll probably take months. If you want to see him recover, you shouldn't leave him in a place like this. Taking the village will only lead to more calls for execution. They'll kill him. He's an irredeemable scumbag. It's a holdover of his ancient giant blood, just like his father Harold. I like the Luffy's just chilling on the horn. He just thinks it's cool. You are my sons, and I love you both. We should work together to support Elbaf after I'm gone. Hadruden and Loki. Loki's already way bigger. Even as a little kid, Loki had his eyes bandaged. That's very interesting. But doesn't King Harold just, like, look like a bad guy? The fact that they're drawing him in shadow like this, I'm so convinced. And it's great because once the truth all comes out, there's certain twists you can do where a character that's meant to be good turns out to be bad. And then when you reread it, it's, like, too jarring because they were depicted in such, like, a different way, and it kind of, like, sabotages almost the original naive reading you would have had the first time reading it through. You know what I'm saying? But I think One Piece very consistently, if a character is going to turn out to be villainous later, there's a lot of, like, subtle visual signaling, and there's a marked absence of positive visual signaling. You know, because we see King Harold in shadow here and stuff, and not, like, goofily grinning, embracing his sons. It's a lot. It's going to be a lot more, like, consistent and coherent when he turns out to be a bastard. You're not our father's legitimate son. Mother had filthy blood in her veins. Tisk tisk. Was Hadruden gonna just kill Loki? Never forget him for what he did. He insulted my mother and killed my father. Take a look at the woods around us. They all say I went and killed Dad with pure murder in my heart, but you don't believe that, do you? Okay. A lot of stuff happening right now because that's the kind of dialogue that often launches us into a substantial flashback where the truth will be revealed. And I suppose if they're ramping up conflict with the Holy Knights and stuff, and we're dealing with, like, an active, horrible situation with the kids being abducted, we kind of gotta like get this out of the way. Because I think Loki is going to fight on the side of heroes. I'm not really sure, if he's going to be truly heroic, but I think he'll definitely want to beat the shit out of those holy knights for all sorts of pretty obvious reasons. So we need to understand the true nature of Loki and find out the true past. And then also just in terms of like the story pacing, if we really get into like true hot-blooded fighting against the Holy Knights, not that Oda hasn't done this before, but I think the times that Oda's done this before, he kind of regrets it, and he's been a little more consistent. That it, like, in the middle of a fight scene is not the time to go into a lengthy flashback. I also think that once the Holy Knights are defeated and we have kind of a triumphant victory on Elbaf, although I think there's probably going to be even more complications, we'll get there eventually. Obviously, there's no way this arc doesn't have a happy ending. Once we get to the happy ending, we don't want to then have a flashback about the betrayal of the old king and he was selling children to the world government and all this other nasty stuff. So I think, maybe the next major event in this arc is going to be the revealing of the truth. And coinciding, the validation of Kitsuta. When did I first call this? Let's get it on record. I have been predicting this plot point since I don't know when. It was before this. This is just my own indulgence. You can close the video now. It's like when they first explain to Luffy who Loki is. So it's even before this. Yeah. Okay. In chapter 1130, when they describe the horrors that Loki brought upon the world, brought upon Elbaf. Next time the Cursed Prince is unleashed, the world will be brought to ruin. He is the shame of Elbaf. I'm pretty sure, we can go back and watch the video to confirm, but I'm pretty sure at that point I was like, nah, it's not going to be like that. He's got this big goofy grin. He's chilling. God, dude, this arc is so good. Yeah. I'm going to be validated, dude. Let's see it. That's a half-court shot from 1130. God, this arc is so good, though. I was just complaining to people who watch Severance, and they basically, to me, just spam guesses of twists. Like, the second season just concluded. I wasn't super hot on the second season in general. I might make a video about it. I don't know. But the ending, like the very ending, I really, really liked. I thought it was some of the best, like, character writing the show had done, period. And I saw so many people, like, instead of having any sort of, like, emotional response to it or understanding its position in, like, the character writing and the character arcs and seeing that as, like, perfectly sensible, they, like, guessed the twist. They were like, I get it. Here's I bet the start of the third season is going to confirm that it was actually this twist. And I was like, you guys have so twist-brained yourself. You have completely lost the plot in terms of, like, how good writing works. You've, like, missed the chance to have, like, a genuine emotional response and just be impressed with the writing quality of this moment, because you are so trained to anticipate twists and you're just trying to reward yourself by calling the twist as quickly and as hard as possible. And it just occurred to me, oh, am I doing the same thing with One Piece? But I think the difference is that I'm right. I'm good at it. Another difference is that I don't think I'm doing this at the cost of having an emotional reaction as well. I think like I really am trying to parse these scenes as if I don't know the twist is coming, and then also try to appreciate not just like call the twist, but like appreciate how it's being built up and engage with the story fully and emotionally through that lens as well. Like I just want it to be like additive. I don't want to start like dismissing scenes and going nah because I know the real story, so you're not gonna trick me with this scene, but still try to get it to have a reaction to it. I don't know. Whatever. This is a great chapter. I love One Piece so much. See you in a week. Let's see what happens. See if I'm right. I was wrong about Sir Killingham, but that one wasn't me trying to call a twist. That was me forgetting how devil fruits work. and somehow just like not realizing that it's just a dude with a devil fruit. I just thought he looked like that. Okay. See you next week.